Good
Hi,
morning.
Tony. How are
How are
you?
you doing?
You have an impressive array of books behind you. Are they real or is that a screenshot?
That is, it is a backdrop.
Sorry.
Books.
You should have lied and said they were real.
I've read every one of them. Uh, and speaking of reading books, I'm a huge fan of Asimov, and this book I read when I was very young, and it still sticks with me today because it's such a huge piece of humanity. I mean, it just really carries itself. So, congratulations on becoming Harry.
Thank you.
Was this a difficult character to kind of take the mantle of?
He is a difficult character in the sense that Harry, playing Harry Seldon, presented a couple of problems. One is he's someone who is playing his cards close to his chest because he's foreseen the outcome of these events many steps down beyond the line to where you are currently inhabiting the story, which means that there's a trick in not wanting to give away too much. But on the other hand, you have as an actor you have to be present all the time, and there have to be stakes involved. You can't know the outcome of every scene that you walk into because that's tedious. That's tedious to act and it's tedious to watch. So there needs to be unpredictability in the story and in Harry's story. So I would say they were the two main things was really trying to come to grips with what are the stakes for Harry as a human being in the stories, and not just as someone who's got this big idea and this big plan and big prediction.
Yeah, Asimov based this on the rise and fall of the Roman
The Roman
Empire. I mean,
Empire,
it
yeah.
is, and you're right. I mean, the book and what Apple TV Plus is doing are really kind of they're two separate things. The book is a
They are, and they're
beautiful
not
read.
really. I mean, so, Asimov wrote that book essentially. He read the book about the fall of the Roman Empire. He then saw it as as an analogy for the American Empire, but didn't want to talk about that. So he posited it in the future as the fall of this great big galactic empire that exists 25,000 years in the future. So it's actually operating on three different levels. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're right. I mean,
but
I didn't mean to overstep that and say that, but what I was trying to get to is the book is has to read different than the TV miniseries that we've got coming up here, and it is beautifully done. David S. Goyer took this book and made it palatable for the TV audience.
sure. Yeah, and he's very good at that. He's very good at world building. He's brilliant he's with big ideas, and big swings. He takes some swings at some huge themes, you know. Yes, and that he's done that brilliantly. Um, and of course, you have to adapt the story to the times of the people who are going to be watching it because we want to see ourselves reflected in the story, you know.
Yeah, it's brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much for your time. It is just an honor to talk to you again.
Bless you. Thank you.
But I have to say, when I heard Salt Lake City, I was a little bit jealous of you. I think that part of the world is one of the most stunning places I've ever been.
That's
So
why I moved here from
lucky you
LA.
living there.
Living the dream, I'll tell you, Lee. And you are too. Tell me a little bit about because this is such a huge science fiction series of novels, and putting it all together had to have been a massive uh, undertaking. And your character, tell me a little bit about how you approached him. Did you read the original books?
Oh yes, yeah. I've read the original books. I play the Emperor of the Galaxy, who doesn't appear very often inside the books. He's talked about a lot, but you don't see him too often inside the books. But he's such an interesting character. I can understand why David Goyer wanted to, explore, what it looks like to hold power in the way he holds power. Um, I'm a huge fan of science fiction.
Hmm.
Approaching this character, and I found inspiration from lots of different places. I looked at this Kapuscinski book called Emperor about Haile Selassie. I found that really such a fascinating read. I looked at the emperors of China, the Incan emperors, and tried to get my head around this idea of absolute power. Like we live on here on Earth, things are very political, right? There's lots of different powerful forces that are competing. The galaxy that we're depicting, there is none. It's really this one man and his control over this, mind-blowingly vast expanse of time and space. The entire Milky Way galaxy, this emperor can decide who lives, who dies, who prospers, who suffers. He has this, growing, prosperous empire.
Mhm.
And, you know, control has limits.
Yeah. Well, heavy
I
heavy
think
is the head that wears the crown.
exactly, exactly. And I think I think the emperor that we meet at the beginning thinks he's, this power that he has inherited, he holds efficiently, that he holds, that he's capable of it, that he is the emperor of the galaxy. And what Harry Seldon is a mathematician who predicts with mathematical certainty that my empire is going to fall, and proposes a foundation at the far corner of the galaxy to help mankind survive the dark ages that follow. Um, I think at its heart, the show is about change, the inevitability of change, and how people respond to that change. My side of that story are the ones who are resistant to that change, who are going to hold on to their power, their control, because they believe it's in everyone's best interest for them to hold on to that power. Um, they are going to hold on to that power, and they're going to fight like hell to stop that change from happening. But I would also expect to see them, suffer.
Well, with that, our time is up. I could talk to you an hour about the philosophy of total power. Thank you so much for your time, Lee.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you making the time to talk to me today.
Bye bye. And it's such a pleasure to meet you this morning.
Excuse me. Thank you. Hiccuping all over the place. It's a pleasure to meet you too, Tony. Hello.
You're a dancer, and I'm. My first question is, how does dancing inform your acting?
Oh, a lot, a lot. I started dancing when I was about 11, and I did all sorts of dancing, but it really helps with like being physical. And Salwa is super physical. She's like the warden of a planet, so she has to be really physically able to do stuff and get like on her toes all the time. So that helps me. I'm really aware of my body, and I like moving around, and yeah, I just jump all over the place.
This is a great role for you then, because it is such an active role.
Yeah, it's super active. And when I was auditioning, David was commenting on how like it seemed like I was super confident with my body and knowing what to do with it. And I think that's something that really helps with this part.
This is a huge science fiction novel. I mean, it goes prequels. There's the book, then there's the after books, and putting it all together is a huge undertaking. Were you aware of how much weight this miniseries has?
Oh, for sure. This show is massive. And making it was showing me how massive it was, because the amount of people that were involved in making the show was like so many people, so many talented people as well. So I knew that I was a cog in a very big, beautiful, exciting machine. And I mean, that alone is just like, I can't wait to see how people respond to it. Now we've made it, it's going to be out there for the world to see. I think people are going to really enjoy it.
It is so relevant to what we're going through today.
It's super relevant. It's super relevant. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it, is that it's uniquely relevant to like what we're going through as a whole humanity. And we all face crises, we're all facing crises all the time. And that's what the show is about. It's about people facing crises and how they handle it, either by themselves or in teams, what they learn and the relationships that they make during it. Yeah, I think people are going to really relate to that.
Every set that an actress and an actor are on is an
Mm.
education of some kind. What did you learn from being on this set?
Oh, when I first went onto the set of like Foundation, I was so green, you know. I kind of knew I knew what I was doing a bit, but I knew I was going to learn a lot, and that's exactly what happened. I learned the main thing I think I learned was how to use my voice, how to express my opinions about scenes, about the character and stuff like that. I was really supported in that, so I felt very nurtured on set, and that helped me learn like these skills that I never thought I would pick up.
Mm.
Um, it's been a really really informative experience, and I've come out the other end feeling super solid in my feet and super solid in like how I feel about acting and how I feel about my job. I'm so excited. Like I'm so excited I can't even explain it.
Well, you are in the right business, believe me. You did such
Oh,
a great job in this, and
thank
it is
you.
just an amazing piece of art.
Thank you so much. That's really lovely to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, and you have a wonderful morning.
Oh, you too.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Lou, it's a pleasure to meet you this morning.
Hi, Tony. How are you?
I'm great. How are you holding up?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
In taking on this role, I mean, this is such a voluminous, is that a word? Um, it is a huge work by Asimov. Did you read the source material?
Yes, I read the first book. I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was really good, and I thought, especially after reading the scripts, I really, really got, engrossed in them, and it was really great.
In taking on the character of Gal, do you tell me a little bit about that process for you?
I mean, I think she really spoke to me when I read, I did the auditions and read the scripts. She really spoke to me, and I really related a lot to her. I mean, the way that she is, she comes from a rural planet, in the outskirts of the galaxy and arrives on Trantor, and it's all new and bright and shiny. And that's kind of how I felt coming onto set for the first time and doing all of this and being thrown into this massive, show and this role. It was really great.
You have an incredible cast to play with in this. From Jared Harris to Lee. I mean, everybody is spot on.
Yeah, no, it was wonderful. And I think we all got along as well behind the scenes. So it was really, really such a joy to work on the show with everyone.
And it's also a brilliant script. David S. Goyer is one of my favorite people, and to be able to not only take this book but the prequels and the other books that are involved in the Foundation series, and blend them into something coherent for a TV audience,
Hmm.
just an amazing work.
I mean, it was brilliant. And I also think he had this vision of creating something that reflected the world that we live in today, which I think he succeeded in, with casting as well as the way that the story is told and the stories are told. So I think he really is wonderful, and he's a great person to work with. He's just brilliant.
Are you a fan of science fiction?
I have, yes, I love science fiction. I've watched all the Star Wars films. I mean, I don't know, Game of Thrones science fiction, I guess it's fantasy, kind of in the same realm, right? Um, Loved that show. I also would always go whenever the Lord of the Rings, you know, films came out. I would go to the cinema with my dad and my brother and watch every single one in the theater, which was
This series has that kind of weight to it, like a Lord of the Rings does.
it feels impressive and massive and iconic. And I think that it does reflect that. And I think everyone will hopefully enjoy it, and see all the work that we've put in.
Now you've come up from the stage. I mean, you did a lot of stage work when you were younger.
I did some stage. I mean, I really didn't do much screen. I did a degree, a master's in screen acting, and then did a very small role in a film. And then this is my big job. I don't do much theatre, myself, really.
Well, you hooked on to a great role and a great series.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited for everyone to see it. I can't wait for it to be out in the
Oh,
world.
it's going to blow people away. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Tony. I hope you have a good day.
Well, Alfred, good morning.
How you doing, Tony? You good?
I'm good. How about you? Are you surviving all these interviews?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm early. It's early in my day, so you've got me when I'm fresh, bright-eyed, and bushy-tailed.
Good. I'm grateful. First of all, I want to congratulate you on everything that you've done. The Harry Potter stuff. It's been an amazing run for an actor.
Thank you very much. Yeah, well, I don't know. I've been lucky. And Foundation when I sort of got involved, I thought, goodness, another huge sort of epic story with already a massive kind of fan base, people who care deeply about these books, deeply about these stories. I thought it's obviously, I don't know, did something right in a past life to keep getting these exciting jobs, and it was brilliant. It was a lot of fun to do. I found the material really interesting, and it's nice to be able to get stuck into something that has that kind of scale, has that kind of
Yeah.
scope. You know,
Yeah.
that's always
Foundation is
juicy.
so heavy, so broad in what what it does. I mean, the book is
Mm.
just amazing. The books, I should say. But in putting it together for Apple TV Plus, this is just a huge undertaking because everything has to be just right.
Quite, yeah, great. And that's I think that's the way you should approach all endeavors, right? Creative endeavors. You want to find a way of making something that really works, that really sings. Do you know what I mean? You want it to come off nicely off the bat, as we say. This is maybe a bit of an obscure cricket analogy, because that's how English I am. But yeah, but I think we all brought those expectations on it ourselves. You know, any job, you want to do it as good as you can do, and especially when there's this kind of excitement around it, especially when
Mm.
the material's so good, you feel like there's something to live up to, and there's something to, you know, there's a lot to mine there. So
Yeah.
just added to the excitement, really.
Was there an audition process for you, or did they just reach out and say, "We need you"?
No, I was shooting a movie in Italy. Actually, it was very nice. I was sort of sunning myself, having a nice time, and I ended up flying over to Ireland to do a screen test. I think maybe I'd had a couple of meetings before then, and so I went out from Italy to do the kind of last meet, and I auditioned with Lou. We did a sort of chemistry. We did a chemistry read. Yeah, but already, I mean, even that, I was like, we shot it with the DP on the stage. I was like, okay, when no one's messing around here. This is the real deal. And it was great. You know, anything like that, which I don't know. For me as an actor, I think doing something where you feel like, oh, this is we're doing the work here. It's not like stand on the mark, sing, dance, bring
Yeah.
your little piece. You know, you're like, let's get stuck in, let's roll our sleeves up, let's do the work, let's feel how it would be. It's nice. It just got me keen for the gig, so it was nice to get
It's
the okay.
it's a beautiful gig. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
You're very welcome. So thanks for having me.